Hi there, I am Arjuna Mitrajyoti and you are watching my book blogging channel. So, today we are talking about a book called The Dharma Forest, which is written by Keerthik Sasidharan. He is not now stationed here, he is in New York, Manhattan. His father, Kottakkal Sasidharan, is a very famous dancer. I know him personally. I met Keerthik Sasidharan actually two and a half years back when his father's autobiography was released by Shashi Tharoor. That was in Calicut. So, about the book. Dharma Forest is again a retelling of Mahabharata. Mahabharata is an epic which has been retold extensively, like Ramayana, which is something we already know, has been handed over to us through centuries, through oral tradition. It has been written down, it has been, changed according to circumstances, it has been retold. This is a, Mahabharata is a wellspring of ideas, which is something we already know. Mahabharata basically talks about dharma, and dharma can be interpreted in so many ways. So Mahabharata is a very controversial text in one way, because it talks about caste a lot, the way varna, jati, it talks about that a lot, because it comes from that kind of a mind space, that kind of a historical background. Coming to this book, this book, basically Keerthik Sasidharan, actually he is saying that this is the first part of a planned trilogy, and I love trilogies. There is something so alluring about them. In the first book, he is taking Bhishma, Draupadi and Arjuna as the central characters, and through them the story is evolving. Here he starts the story bang in the middle of the Kurukshetra war. He is like the 9th day of it. That is Bhishma's Sarashaya is next day, and the penultimate day, Krishna and Arjuna and Yudhishthira is coming and meeting him to talk about his imminent death or his imminent failure. He cannot die like that, right? He is a Chiranjeevi, Swachhanda Mrityu, not Chiranjeevi, my mistake, Swachhanda Mrityu, where he can decide on his own how, when he has to die, not how, when he has to die. So that's where the story starts. He has a way with the language. Keerthik Sasidharan is a wonderful writer. He has been writing for The Hindu and something called The Serendipities. He has been writing a column in The Hindu called The Serendipities, and I used to read them. I read that column, and his language always used to, there is a certain way with the words. He can play with the words, and he has done this. He has done that here too. His language is very thick, very structured. There is that quality to his language, which is such a book really needs, or else we cannot simply, because Mahabharata is something we have heard the stories, right? So if you really want to indulge in this, we really need something really, we need some kind of a new perspective into it, and he really gives that here. As I've told you, Bhishma, Draupadi and Arjuna, he has given a bit more space to Draupadi as far as I am concerned, and that has worked really wonderful. The portions where he talks about the polyandry of Draupadi, where erotica comes in, he can write erotica very beautifully. He has written it really well. He has really he gives us this idea of how a woman goes through 5 husbands. At the end of the day, we are a very conservative society, and even though there is a saying that usually a girl will not be named Draupadi, because that idea of a girl having many husbands or many partners is something that is so outrageous for us. A man who is having multiple partners is very common for us. That's fine, that's okay. But the reversal is something that we cannot really understand, and Draupadi is like that, even though the question of consent comes in, because her marriage is basically a swayamvara. Swayamvara simply means a guy is showing some kind of a martial tricks or something, and whoever is winning in that trick can marry her. It's like she is some kind of a prize or something. That is very problematic, which is something we already know. But we are talking about a story, our common conception of how a life has to be, how a proper man has to be, how a proper woman has to be, how a society has to be. Everything, at least in India, there is it has been derived from this kind of writings, because being Hindu means we take a lot of things from everything. Okay, so it's very problematic, that concept, because if she herself understands, if she herself feels that she needs more partners, then that's fine. But right now, the story, right? Kundi is just saying that you share whatever you have gotten, you share equally among yourselves, which is a blunt statement, but it's a story. So now she's being shared, and but she's actually having more love, or she's really in love with Arjuna. And that's where this writer has really taken that bit, and he has really worked on that, and it has come out really well. That I felt those parts are my favorite parts in this novel, where he talks about Draupadi, how her mind works, how her sexuality functions, how she's especially that scene where Arjuna comes in to take his weapon, that famous story where she is with Yudhishthira, and Arjuna is not supposed to look at her. No, not look at her. Arjuna is not supposed to see her in a state where she is naked, because she is with her other husband, and that scene is very beautiful, because another man in the sense his brother itself is having sex with her, and he is coming inside and he is looking at her, and that scene where Draupadi in a very maybe in a calculated move, she just looks at him just to give him a some kind of an urge, some kind of a jealous feeling, that or I don't know what she was thinking, but he has really explained that scene in a very beautiful way, and that really stuck to my head. I just gave you one scene out of that. It's really stuck to my head. There is beauty in his writing, which is something we have to really give to him. There is beauty in his writing. There is a way of, and there is a lot of war in this. Okay, at the end of it, it's Kurukshetra, and that war scenes, he has really, it's really bloody. It reminded me of Game of Thrones. If this is the first part, in second or third, he can really make a Game of Thrones of India, I suppose. I'm not saying that Game of Thrones is better or worse than Mahabharata, because I really loved Game of Thrones. The politics, everything. The politics of Mahabharata is, it's very difficult to wrap my head around it. It's very difficult, because Dharma comes in, and Dharma is not something we can really digest, because Dharma is not something that it's beyond us. So was it a good reading experience? It was a very good reading experience because of the language, but there is a slight absence of empathy in the proceedings, I suppose. That's what I felt. Bit more empathy, I don't know, maybe in the second reading. It's a huge book. Okay, it's a huge book, 500 pages, and in a minuscule writing. It's quite a huge book, and second and third part is coming. The reading of it, it's not a tedium. You can breeze through it because of the language. In a nutshell, if you love Mahabharata, if you love reading about Mahabharata, and you can take Dharma Forest. It will give you a good reading experience. It has some moments in it. It has a wild beauty to it. So if you love what I do, like, comment, share, subscribe, and if you press the bell icon, you will get the notifications. Hope you're safe. Stay safe. Thanks for listening. Bye.